left off is you have just finished a strength draining fight with several purifiers and a strong shadow mage in the safety and temple that has been violated of the Temple of Glorn, your home base in the Underdark underneath the city of Valentrell. And several of you took very strong hits from these shadow creatures, from these blades, from the purifiers that basically sucked out your strength. Plus, this mage was that you had seen before about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You saw this person again, and he was the one that was there when you first met, that was trying to sacrifice or do something with an altar and some sort of sacrificial ritual with Diedre, Yenni, and Igneous. However, he was not able to survive because there was a lot of murder and destroying of these shadow creatures. You were able to save Gustavo, who gave you some clues as to the purifiers were the ones that took Drake Bloodmoon, the sort of person that's sort of the first knight of this area in the Knights of the Realm, and he was the one that was taken. And you know that Narsen Drell, who is the High Cleric of Avaros in Valentrell, was very interested in finding Drake Bloodmoon. In your meeting with him, even though he said, we're on the same team and I'm working with the Platinum Syndicate, but I'm sort of doing it for good reasons, I really want to find Drake Bloodmoon because I don't trust his ulterior motives and that sort of thing. So that's kind of where you're at. You had a short rest. You were going for a long rest, but it got interrupted, so several of you are very weak. And Raffaella is there. Lucky is there. Ganak went off to Ironhaven with Coach and his son and has not yet returned. Boone is there, a bit shaken since he tried to engage in some combat, and Gustavo is resting. You're still in the kind of main hall where the encounter took place. And at the moment that we left off, Theo proposed marriage quite suddenly to Raffaella. And I believe the line was something like,
I don't know if you had thought about it at all, but I thought that I should make my intentions known and that I would see that our families are joined in holy matrimony, if that
Theo?
would be okay with you. I have lots to... Yes?
I appreciate the gesture.
Appreciate it. It sounds good, right?
While you are While you are this is
not end well.
I would like to talk about this when we have completed our mission. This is not the time for romantic endeavors or any kind of pursuit of such trivial nature. We have a job to do. Do we understand?
Well, I suppose we do, but...
Good, all right.
Okay.
Let's compare our final thoughts. I'm interested to hear what all
Great.
of you...
I love you too.
I didn't say that. I just don't think it's the time.
Of course not.
Right now.
Of course not, dear.
Our main benefactor has been kidnapped, and our place of this establishment, Lorne, is not safe, which is a major wrench in the gears, so to speak. If they're able to teleport in, then who's to say they can't do it again?
And that's all true, but I feel like it only says to me that there's no time like the present, and we've got to seize the day one way or another. But you do you. We'll take care of this, and we can handle affairs of the heart later on this.
Yes.
Theo is gonna kind of over dramatically backhand slap Igneous and say, "Quiet, listen to her. She's in charge." As you were saying.
You take 1 point of bludgeoning damage from
Oh no,
the
he was
orc.
only at 1 HP.
Oh no!
We have no
Were you?
strength, so I couldn't handle it. No, I'm fine.
No, I was like, I don't know.
Because my
Um,
strength is zapped too. It was like getting hit with a loose.
Yeah,
newspaper.
and it hurts when you hit him. You're like, ah,
Ow!
ah.
Oh, I don't think I'll be doing that
Oh,
anymore.
the blood vessels
Oh.
are pumping, and you're just,
Oh.
that was a mistake. I instantly regret it. You take 1 hit point of damage as well from trying to hit him, and your arm just goes kind of limp like noodle, like pins and needles. You're just like, ow.
Okay, I am at 8 HP.
Okay.
No more slapping.
Boone is like, oh, everybody just calm down. It's okay. I know that was pretty tense. Does anybody need healing? Because I can't do that.
I can heal a little bit.
I have healing as well.
But I think nice.
Well, I think the best thing for us to do right now is to get some rest so that we can teleport you where you need to go, and also all of us that got hit with some strength siphoning, and you can tell Lucky also got hit in the fight at some point. He seems very weak as well. I think we need to rest, and we just need to hope that no one invades during this 8-hour period of time.
Let's do it.
Lucky, I think that's a big risk. You hear Raphaela says it. We cannot risk. We have to leave. We have to leave the temple. That's the only way. We can't just stay here and risk another invasion. And you hear from the doorway, like all of this conversation is happening, and you hear from the doorway, perhaps we can help. And you turn and you see 3 of the knights that you have rescued up on their feet and looking much better than how you found them. You see Luxara Domar, the half-elf fighter. You see Joden Reed Kettle, who is the halfling cleric. And you see Cyrano, who's the tiefling warlock. And they're armored up and fully clothed, and they have some color back in their face. And then around the corner, you also see XX Bloody Heart kind of pop out his head. And he's like, hey. And then kind of like he's sort of in the background. And you see Cyrano, the tiefling, says, you have done what you can to help us out, and we appreciate that. So let us take watch. We, along with perhaps Boone, will watch and make sure there is no invasion. If there is a chance where there's another massive invasion, we will probably wake you up, let's be honest. But let us be the ones on guard, while the rest of you get some much needed rest and try to get your strength back.
Sounds fair.
Before we go rest, just in case we get interrupted, I'd like to use the remainder of my lay on hands on whoever's doing the worst, and then I could do an aura of vitality as well and like heal people up, just to kind of like in case.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
All right, who's doing the worst? It sounded like it was Theo at 8 HP.
It's not great.
I'm like marginally bloody, but probably not as bad as Theo.
I also have like healing too, but do I want to use spell slots? Because if we don't,
we're about to take a long rest.
But if
the only reason for you to heal is if we don't get a long rest, and that means you wouldn't have spell slots. So
then, should just heal up with my own spell slots, because either way,
I think we should trust these fine knights to protect us.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Okay.
We should be strong enough to go to sleep like little babies.
Well, just in case, I will go ahead and heal Theo up for 20 points.
Okay, I'll do the rest on... I'll use a couple spell slots to...
And then Aura Vitality is up to a minute. So I could do 10 heals, I think, at 2d6.
I'll also throw in a mass cure wounds. That'll be 15 for everybody.
Okay, and is that limited to 6 people?
Yep.
I think it's 6 beings.
Us and Lucky.
So we'll say yeah, and Lucky. Okay.
For 15 more.
Got it. Okay. And just let us know how much everybody heals, Matt.
I can do a grand total of about 50 based on what I just rolled. Oh wait,
On
no,
everybody?
a grand total of. Oh wait, no, I missed one. Should be one more roll than that.
So is that like distributed,
Yeah.
or I don't know how aura
Yeah,
vitality works.
it's I can move this aura around, and once a turn, but there's no turn.
So it's like a mobile lay on hands kind of
yeah,
thing.
and it's 2d6 per. But I can only apply it to one person at a time, and then I can move it to another person basically, with a bonus action.
Okay. Well,
So
just let me know how you want to distribute
everybody
that.
gets 2d6. Roll it yourself.
So okay,
Hey.
that's great. Okay, so everybody roll 2d6 and you add that.
10.
That's a.
And how much did you give me before, Matt, on the lay on hands?
20.
Lucky
20?
heals 7.
Okay, so I'm like totally good.
So you all feel a lot better. Your strength is still down, but you feel a lot better health wise, other than the fact you're kind of weak. Raffaella says, We will all get some rest. Thank you, Cyrano, Luxara, Jodin, for taking watch, and Boone. Are you sure you're up for it? And he's like, Oh yeah, I'm good. So they kind of stay in. They're ready to go, and you all head back to your rooms. As you're making your way in the main hall before the staircase, Raffaella says, I suggest that we reconvene after our rest and come up with the game plan of who's going where, who's talking to who. I'll be honest, I'm a bit rattled, and I'm nervous that waiting this long, something might happen to Mr. Bloodmoon, but the risk is too great for us to go right now. So it's what must be done. Good night, everyone. And she heads up, kind of looking at Theo tentatively, like, I should say something, but I'm going to go.
That wasn't awkward at all.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't damage our professional relationship.
How could a marriage proposal possibly do that?
Oh well,
I think she likes you, Master Theo.
well, I guess I don't have much to offer.
She did call love trivial, though. I wonder if this is not a...
But she didn't say no.
Melbin, sometimes nuance is an important factor for communication.
Yes, but also she didn't say no. You're in, buddy.
I just wanted to do the right thing.
You're like walking up the stairs, going closer to the hallway where your rooms are.
Theo, I think at this point it would be prudent just play it cool.
I'm definitely good at being cool.
Oi, so am I. You turn around and you notice that Lucky's been there the whole time. He's been like, by the way, I think you're very charming, and I don't know, I know Raffaella is a bit cold sometimes, but as a winter ladron, I must say I know a thing about being a bit frigid. But listen, I think she's been through a lot. She comes from a pretty tough neighborhood, so to speak. So I think maybe just give her some time. When all this is blown over, if we survive, if we're not dead or turned into mush or whatever it is, I think she's never really had a good friend that she can confide in. So just being somebody to listen to is probably a bit of a change of pace for her. Whenever she tries to talk to me, I honestly don't really want to listen that much. And Gunnock is a frog, so I think just be somebody that can listen to her, but maybe slow down a little bit there, boyo.
I appreciate that, Lucky. Thank you.
No problem. And he kind of pats you on the shoulder.
The strength.
Like,
Ooh.
all right, well,
Hold on, no.
oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. And he turns to Igneous and pats you on the shoulder.
All right.
When he touches you, there's this burning sensation. There's this, and he goes, ah, and you go, ah, and it's like, ah. you actually take 1 point of cold damage.
He reacted that way too. We hurt each other.
Yeah. He's like, ow, God, what? You're burning up.
Super effective.
That was super cold. What was that?
What are you talking about? That was
It's
super
on-
warm. Your skin's on fire.
Your skin's all freezing.
Okay, now hold on a sec. Okay.
Well, I'm a winter ladrona. When I get emotional, when I get worked up, we were just in a fight, and my natural seasonal instincts
All right,
kick
well,
in.
let's not touch each other. I'm a phoenix born. It's probably about that.
I did well. It's fine. I wasn't planning on. I was just saying, get some rest. I'm not touching anybody yet. Okay, good night. And he just like walks away. All right. So, anything else before you want to head to your room?
According to my character sheet, I only took 1 damage from the battle, but since this episode started, I've taken 2 from 2 allies.
Yeah.
Just being cool. So I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yep.
Sleep it off. I hope you recover. You're 3 HP.
Let's just pretend you took some damage. You did use some key points.
I just want a bath, like a proper bath.
All right, so Diedre heads in, imagines a luxurious elven noble bath chamber with curtains around a clawfoot tub with steaming hot water. There's some harp music playing from an unknown source. There's a decanter of wine on a floating platter, and or maybe a rosé, since it's kind of light. And yeah, and there's some like flower petals around and some candles burning and smell like honeysuckle and lemon. Everyone else heads in, unless you have something else you want to do or say. You head into your rooms, your respective places.
I think my room this time is like a gym. Like there's a sauna, there's like a mat on the floor to rest, but it's largely like you're preparing for battle, monk training kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Monk style. Yeah. Excellent.
Melbin's going to fall asleep in his armor, being too weak to remove it right now.
You find your way to sleep in your own ways, and it's restless. You're on edge. You're nervous, but through exhaustion and the long day that you've had,
A lot of crying.
some rejection, some life choices being thought about. Sleep eventually finds you, and before the night is done, you feel like in your dreams, in your head, you feel these shadowy creatures that you dealt with, the purifiers. You all see them kind of in your visions, in your nightmares. It's a restless sleep. You manage to get through all 8 hours of rest, and so you can credit yourself a long rest. And when you wake up, you find that those of you that were drained of strength are your strength is fully restored. You find yourself, oh, I feel much better now. You're extremely hungry, but you are, your strength is back to normal.
That wasn't our modifier. That was just the ability score that got.
Yeah, it was like your actual strength score.
Yep.
So you reconvene back in the sort of dining room / war room, situation room, and Raphaela, Lucky, Ganok is actually there. He has returned mid rest, and you see them talking. The other knights that were keeping watch are there, kind of talking about nothing has transpired, and they go to rest after having been up and kind of, they're like, okay, well, we're actually tired, and they're going to go take a rest. And you guys exchange some pleasantries, and you sit down to a meeting / breakfast that Boone starts bringing in some cooked meats and some breads and morning veggies and fruits and stuff like that for a meal before your final kind of what you're going to do. Raphaela says, all right, lay it all on the table. What is it that you would like to do. Everyone is rested, healed up. What's the plan?
I'd reiterate sort of the plan that we tentatively came up with the day before of sending XX to go talk to Vic about the gods that Narsendrell was unfamiliar with, and us going to talk to whoever I said we were going to talk to, Narsendrell.
Right. Now, I know that you want to deal with Narsendrell, but let's just review, and we can certainly send XX Bloody Hearts to Victor von Schnell to do some reconnaissance. He will be able to contact us once he's there, so we might be able to do that first and see if there's any information. Is there anyone else that might be able to, that in your journeys for any of these places, that would have any information? Did you meet anyone in Boulderbell? Did you meet anyone in Zolar Spiral, in the jungles of the Sunless Jungle?
What about that big lizard? Do you think he would know something?
Yenni, I don't think that he is exactly what I would call a conversationalist.
Hmm.
But I love that you creatively thought of that.
Would the hag from the Zolar Spiral know anything? She was magic-y.
I think everybody's trying to rack their brains like
Raffaella says, "Hag, what is the hag?"
It was this old lady who had she made us very small. We went inside a tree. Where we rescued Cyrano. Of course, she had trapped him in there, I believe, but
Normally, hags are found in places of dark importance or in the Feywild, but it's interesting that she had picked a swamp. Did she say why she was there, or how she got there?
I would have to go through my notes.
Make a history check, all of you,
Hmm.
to see if you can remember what
10.
old Tula said.
13.
8.
5.
10.
Oh.
Well, we have no ideas, and the story's over. Good night, everybody. This has been Knights of the Royal Table.
No, it's
Bad guys
it's not
win because
hanging
we
upon.
couldn't figure it out.
Well, you. I mean, as you, I'll just say, like, as you're kind of racking your brain, you're like, well, we didn't really, the first adventure, or the first adventure was where you met Kali, played by David,
Mhm.
and you went in. There was a castle. There was a temple
Fought the
at the top
trees.
of the mountain of Velocia. There was this kind of talking head that turned you into stone, it was like a fawn head, and he was like, "Oh, hello," it's
Yep,
like that
yep.
guy.
I don't want to go there.
So there's that guy. He's very riddly and clever and playful.
Nah. Next.
The
What else we got?
Yeah, and then you have the vampire, the frost vampire, Victor von
I'd
Schnell.
rather
I
talk to
think we
him.
already decided we were sending
XX.
And XX is going to go down there because you can't go back. Then there
I
wasn't
would've gone
really
back. We got along famously.
you.
but
The third place was in
Heaven's Breath.
Shivermore?
Heaven's Breath, which was Heaven's Breath was Sozeb, and there wasn't really any other person there. I mean, there's a lot of like locals and stuff, but you kind of sense like they wouldn't really know much more about like gods and what's going on and things like that. Then when you went to the swamp, when you went to the jungle most recently, other than Coach and the knight and his husband, the Dragonborn artificer, they didn't really have any other information. Bato, it was the Dragonborn, had told you all that he knew about. He was kind of duped by this god, demigod, that kind of said like, "Hey, if you go to this place, but there wasn't really anybody else to talk to. As far as old Tula, who is in Zolar Spiral, I think, Matt, you rolled a 13?
Yep.
I will say, as you're thinking about it, you do remember old Tula saying something about she was banished from the Feywild.
Mm.
You don't remember the exact rhyme, the exact words, but you remember like, oh, yeah, she's not from there. She was banished there from. And then I think you did write down the name of the god that she mentioned that she dealt with. Octavia.
Oh,
Conqueror of Night.
Conqueror of Night.
that's right.
There it is.
And so okay.
She said, I was banished.
And she talked entirely in rhyme. So let's go talk to her for a long time.
But we can't go back there because the limitations of the Grumble Gate won't allow us to.
And Lucky says, wait, you said she was in a swamp? Zolar Spiral?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hold on a second. I might have an idea. And he runs off and opens the closet in the main hallway, and you just hear XX Bloody Heart be like, get out of my closet.
Hey, this is my home now.
Oh, you can stay in a room, XX Bloody Heart. I mean, you don't have to stay in the closet.
No, this is cooler.
No, give me that. Give me that.
You can go
Right,
in a
and
room that you can make into a closet. They're really cool. It could be super dark and there could be like mold. It'd be great.
Lucky runs back in.
It's not me.
And he says, and he puts down this map, and it's a map of the realms, and you can see all of the different places that you've been. He puts down the map and he points to the Zolar Spiral, and he says, as you know, when you enter the Zolar Spiral, it's a giant shifting area of swamplands. It's essentially just like floating areas. Now, the teleportation spell dictates that we can't teleport you, or you can't teleport back to a place that you teleported from if it's the exact same place that you teleported from a solid ground. This place technically isn't a solid ground. It's constantly moving on the ocean, on the tectonic plates. It's because it's a swamp, right? So technically, we should be able to go back to a location that you know of. And you describe it to us, and we could send you back. Technically,
Let's do that if you think that. Yes, if old Tula can help us, then if she knows Fey gods, perhaps she can help. Let's go there.
There is one downside: is if it doesn't work, I would lose the ability to teleport. We would basically be down one spell. It's not a huge loss, but for the sake of time, it might be something that doesn't work, and then we wouldn't be able to try somewhere else. And then Raffaella says, but I can still teleport, and so can, Ganok is going to send XX Bloody Heart, so we would just have one more chance before one of us rests. So I think that's a fine suggestion.
Let's give it a shot.
Right. Well, follow me down to the Grumble Gate. And so he kind of heads with you down there. You also see XX and Ganok are making their way down because he has this kind of his own mission. And you head down to the sort of large chamber of ivory and weird smells and this place that you've been in several times. And it has this kind of a different feel to it today. It's almost acrid and acidy in the air, which is a weird feeling, but it's not toxic, but it's definitely almost like it's changed a little bit. Yeah.
Theo is going to go over to the walls of the under the Grumble Gate here.
Yep.
And it's going to cast Beast Bond and then lay on hand onto the wall here. And that creates a telepathic link with one beast you touch that is friendly or charmed by me. and I say, "Hello." Are you a beast?
Beast
Are we
bond
inside of
is
It's a level 1 spell. Are you a thing? You seem like a thing. Are you a thing? Hello?
you send out this thought, this feeling, kind of an innate call to nature if this thing is alive in some way, and because it's a beast, or it's a beast bond spell, what you get back is it's almost like a rejection. There is no link; the link is severed, but it's sent back with almost severity to the point where you feel like your ears are ringing. It's like
Ooh.
So you're not able to make a link, but there's something there.
Interesting.
That's what I'll give you.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, well, okay.
So you get the sense, well, it's not a beast.
Interesting. Well, okay. We're with Lucky, right? We're with Lucky, or
You're with Lucky,
okay.
Yeah. You're with Lucky and Ganak.
Hey, Lucky,
Oi.
coming down here, it seems like, like we're in the belly of like a whale or a big ancient beast or something. What is this place? It looks like it's a cave, but in some places it looks like an old giant animal.
Oi, I've always wondered that. I'm going to be honest with you myself. I don't know actually what it is. When I started here a couple of years ago, I saw this and thought, oh, this is an unusual sort of cavern structure. And, well, Ganok, do you know? Well, I mean, just a question. I don't think he's meaning to be rude to anybody. Well, that's true. I mean, I guess if anybody would know, it would be Gustavo. He knows a lot about the organization of the Knights. I mean, he does work with Drake Bloodmoon, so perhaps, I mean, he's been working with the Knights a lot longer, so, I mean, we might be able to ask him. If you think it's important.
Oh,
He's upstairs.
Well, I mean, I guess it was more of a curiosity. Haven't you been curious about it at all?
Oh, constantly.
Okay.
I'm just too afraid to ask. I just thought it was kind of a cool thing, it's like, oh, you go into this big belly kind of thing, and when I asked Raffaella, she said, oh, I don't know, and like, it's not important. It's been here for years. She gave me some sort of like, it's the history of the Knights, and we shouldn't be one to question.
Yeah, she does that, doesn't she?
I guess so, but
what do you think she's thinking?
Well, that's neither here nor there. I mean, if you want, I can ask really quick, or
I wonder what she's thinking about.
Yes, it seems like a worthwhile thing to find out. Let's ask before we go.
Yeah. Let's we'll go ask. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Lucky kind of looks up and he pulls out a copper wire and he kind of sends it in a direction. And he's sent a message. He kind of does a message cantrip, and he's like, Gustavo, might you come down here, please? All right, he'll be right down. So as Ganak is you kind of see him make his portal for XX Bloody Heart. XX turns to the group. He's about to go. He's like, what you're gonna say something along the lines like just kind of recapping your mission.
Okay, so you want me to go and like ask this guy about Aranye and the Fae? Get some background? All right. Whatever. Peace out, nerds. But he just deuces and jumps back into the portal.
Like Star-Lord, kind of like jumps backwards. And Ganak kind of seals it up. At that point, Gustavo is coming down, having just woken up a couple minutes ago, and he's like, oh, hello, my friends. It's good to see you. Good morning. Thank you again for figuring out my affliction. I am glad to be alive. What is it? Lucky said that you had the question.
Well, he said you might know a little bit more about this space and this room in particular, and like what its deal is, because it looks like we're inside of like a living, or at one time a living thing, and it's just an odd thing.
And he kind of pauses a sec, and he looks at Lucky, and Lucky's like, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's why I asked you." And Gustavo kind of rubs his temple, and he says, "Well, seeing that I almost died yesterday, I suppose it might be time to tell someone else, just in case. I mean, the only people that know is myself and Mr. Bloodmoon, and I feel like it is important just in case it tries to be captured, since seeing that people could come here at any minute. What we are inside is a great creature, an ancient creature. Several thousand years ago, before any of us were alive, before our ancestors were even alive. In the second wave of the second age of knights, the second great calamity that happened, there was a being, a monstrosity that was brought apart from an evil being in between the realms, from the abyss and the hells. They called forth a creature not birthed from any parents, but birthed from hatred and avarice itself. There is only one of its kind, and there has only been one of its kind. It was not killed, but it was rather brought down underground and forced into a perpetual slumber, a deep slumber that it will hopefully never be woken from. Have you heard of a creature called a Tarrasque?
Oh, only in legend.
And all of you can make for this, I'm going to say make a general wisdom check.
23.
6.
Nat 20, 23.
Ooh. Yenni got a 4. Diedre and Theo. So, Diedre, in your readings about different monsters of previous ages and things like that, there was definitely writings of this huge creature that was seen prowling and destroying many of the realms, changing the landscape itself. A large, massive, mountain-sized monstrosity, similar to a dragon, and but with a huge. It kind of reminds you of the T-Rex that you saw, in pictures, at least, the etchings that were done of
Can
it.
you say the name
And
of it
Theo,
one more time? So
a Tarrasque.
Tarrasque.
Sorry.
And it is and then Theo, you've heard legends just told throughout campfire stories of a giant walking monstrosity. Orcs have passed it down, um, through legend and lore, of a mountain that walks, that changed the very living country as it in its footsteps, and destroyed cities with one step, and um, could not be killed, and had the hides of steel, and its roars, its breath and roars would kill people upon sight, and just all these like legends and stuff. And it's just hearing that name even is just like, oh, that's a real thing. And then you're like, wait, we're in it.
Jeez.
And so as all this is kind of sinking in, the two of you are shaken for a second, because you realize that if what he's saying is true, you might be inside of this thing.
Gross.
And Gustavo kind of looks at the two of you and realizes that you realize that. And he's like, I'm afraid it's true. This, what we are inside is that very, very real creature.
Oh dear.
But what so the knights of the time that were able to bring it down with much sacrifice found a way to imprison it in a way that it is slumbering. It's almost dug itself into the very earth itself in the Underdark. And they built this temple over it because of its arcane residual properties. By going inside of it, we are able to harness a very strong boost to these teleportation abilities that the sorcerers are able to tap into. That's why we always have 3 sorcerers here. It enables them to channel and enhance their ability to teleport anywhere in the realms, more so than they would be able to do if they were somewhere else. Now, you know this, but no one else knows this except for Mr. Bloodmoon. If Narsendrel is in fact the one that is taking him, I have a suspicion that perhaps Narsendrel knows that we have some sort of secret and is trying to find out. And if he's able to find that out from Mr. Bloodmoon, then the forces of the Platinum Syndicate are able to get their hands on such a arcane place of teleportation, or, God forbid, bring this thing back to life. It could mean chaos for everything. Not to put a damper on the day's events, but you asked, and so now you know. And just don't tell anybody.
Okay.
But there's no way that it
I'm
could
sure it's
wake
fine.
up, right? It's permanently asleep, right?
It is permanently asleep. It's in a slumber that will never wake.
No possible way at all, in any sort of emergency or with any sort of magic, could it wake up.
The way it was put down from what I was told from Mr. Bloodmoon was the knights of old were able to channel all of their abilities together in some sort of a linked connection. And the ones that had arcane abilities were able to channel their abilities together, sort of in a mind meld of some sort. And one of them had the ability to well, there are spells that allow you to hold a creature, sleep a creature, so they were able to greatly enhance one or two of these spells using all of their combined abilities together. But by doing so, they were all rendered powerless. After this, they lost all of their abilities. It was a huge sacrifice on their part, but they saved the realm. It was I don't know much about the tale itself, but I'm sure if the library that we've talked about before might have more information, but that's probably not important for right now. They were able to put it into a long slumber. The only thing I think that for Mr. Bloodmoon, he said that the only thing that would be able to wake it is some sort of a divine intervention, a god, there is a spell called the wish spell, so that could wake it up, or a god itself would have to reach down and cause enough damage to the brain of this creature where it would shock its system to where it would be able to essentially carve itself out of the ground.
So the evil gods that that we seem to be fighting and running into their henchmen, perhaps they could be doing that? That seems very bad.
Yes, in the grand scheme of things, if Narsendrel really does have this god Avaros on his side and he's able to call down a high five of epic proportions, then that would not be good. I assume it would take some sort of, sacrifice or ceremony or something like that. But I don't know the ways of the necrotic under.
I mean, are we going to sit here and
the bad-
debate it all day, or are we going to go in and do the dang thing?
Lucky says, "Oh, I'm ready whenever you are. I thought all of this was very interesting, being in the belly, the chest cavity of a ancient creature. It certainly makes me want to come down here again, over and over again." Right. So Zolar spiral, sure. So he starts. I hope this works.
I hope this
From what you've told me.
smell comes out of it.
And then you see this portal open up, this kind of green ring, sparks and mist, and before you lies what you told Lucky about, which was this bog and swamp area that has a hut surrounded by a big tree, and with the assistance of a map, you were able to kind of point out approximately where you were when you ran into Old Tula, and you see this portal open up before you, and it says, "I think it worked. Good luck." So you all go through this portal, and you land in this bog, swampy kind of shallow water, and you just instantly kind of feel like this bugs and kind of. Yeah. It's a weird feeling to go from like an underground cavernous area to a place that now has light, but it's covered with this weird swampy vines and canopy, and you see a faint light in the little hut that's nestled in the tree. From the side, from about 25 feet away, you see kind of a shifting mass that looks over, and it's one of the ogres that Tula pointed out the last time towards the end of your encounter, and he's like,
Mama.
kind of looks up to the hut, and he's like,
Mama. People. They seem nice. This'll go well. I feel good about this.
So he just kind of looks back at you, and
Lady Tula, we're back.
after a moment, the door opens, and nobody's there. And then she walks to the door, and you see her kind of like walk with little like kind of peeks around with a smile. "You visit me. What a nice treat. Would you like something to eat?" And she's holding a little pot. And she's like kind of making her way down the tree with this little pot, the steps that are carved into the tree roots. She's holding this little pot and steaming with something.
Sure, I think that would be great. Sorry that we're running late. You see that? See what right there?
Igneous, darling, you don't need to do it.
Speaking of language.
No, it's real good.
not
I think
a
you should
language.
do it too.
You don't have to do that.
You don't understand.
And she holds out the pot to Yenni, like, and you see inside of it, it looks kind of like this, like a stew. There's these little chunks of a purplish kind of cubed, some sort of a root vegetable or a kind of squarish cubed soft material, and there's a round kind of a slimy round white object and a couple of like little leaves thrown in there and little black flecks, and she offers you a wooden spoon.
Darling, I'm afraid I have to wash my figure.
We just had breakfast, right?
Yeah.
I'm still gonna take a bite.
You're gonna take a bite?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Take 70,000 seconds.
take
Let me see what
you
this
take
purple's all about.
take the spoon and eat one of the purple things. Okay. It tastes it's the first thing that hits you on your palate is it tastes kind of gingery. There's a strong ginger in your taste buds, and then there's a kind of a warm feeling that warms your chest and your arms, and it kind of has this like this kind of umami flavor in your mouth where it's kind of seeping through, and you feel like you're going to have some pretty bad breath after this, but it's quite filling, the bite that you took.
That's spicy.
Yeah, it's got a little kick to it. Not so much spice, but it's just a hearty, thick broth.
I know, but Yenni doesn't have umami in her vocabulary.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
For sure. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw for me.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
+4 because Melvin's nearby.
Oh, okay. 21.
21.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get a little like kind of grumble in your tummy, and it's like, yeah, cool, okay. Oh, all right. And she kind of looks at the rest of you and says, "Let's see." Well, she doesn't say anything. She just kind of looks at you.
Thank you very much for all of that. Anyway,
Make that burp, Yenni.
She takes yeah.
Sample.
Yenni lets out a little burp.
Fans, remix that. Fans, remix
Tula
it.
takes a bite. And she kind of smiles at you, and takes a bite of something chunky and goes.
Yenni says, "That was not bad. I'm not mad."
that's very good.
I see you're trying to rhyme. It makes for a good time.
Well, we hope that we can stay child and ask you some questions pertaining to the Feywild.
All right, you can't all do it. I started it. We can't. No, that's not. I'm not going to do it.
Actually, I believe that Lady Chula started it.
Fine.
Sorry, I won't step on your thing anymore, Iggy.
I'll do open prose now.
I did. This is true. Well, say what you have come to do.
Lady Chula, when last we were here, you mentioned
Why can't I ever find this in my notes? I was just looking at it.
last time we were here, you mentioned Octavia, conqueror of night. And we were hoping you could tell us more about that and the
She
Feywild.
spits. These old gods are tricky things. They have no need for swords or rings. You have questions, so you say? Ask them. Ask away.
I particularly liked that rhyme. We believe that some nefarious deities may be trying to do something terrible. Would you have a way of helping us know if that were true?
She thinks for a second. Octavia was a powerful foe. She's old, but deadly, don't you know?
But she still lives?
I was banished in the moonlit hour, a threat to her amassing power.
What threat would you say that you posed? Was it your own power? Or did you have some external power that you were wielding that was threatening?
She saw my power as a threat. When I was gone, my land she did get.
were there other people, other beings in the Feywild that you interacted with who were on her side or working for Octavia, or anything about the leadership of the Feywild you could tell us about?
I did not mess with the leaders of Fey. I simply went about my day. But as the balance shifted and I was gone, her power would then carry on. If she's the only one left standing, then ultimate power she will be branding.
It sounds to me like she needs to be stopped. I don't know if it relates to what we're doing, but it seems like she needs to be stopped, just in general.
She kind of nods. When last I saw her, she was alive, seeking to make her power thrive.
Would she want power outside of the Fey, out of the Feywild, into this realm?
She thinks for a second, takes another bite, kind of offers a spoonful to Yenni.
I'm full.
Kind of looks disappointed a little bit, but just keeps chewing.
Don't worry, the end is diarrhea. When you finish.
God.
You'll have an upset tummy.
Yeah.
The future is looking very dismal. You will need the Pepto-Bismol.
I don't know why I said that like Melbin. That was just the way it came
Yep.
out.
Okay.
Why is this the turn that we've taken?
I
in this
know.
whole experience?
Just had a pot of food. That's all it was. Just, bog water. Okay, so to your question, she thinks for a second, chews her mashed bits on several teeth, like she's missing a lot of teeth, so she's kind of gumming it.
It's gotta be soup.
Yeah, it's got to be soup. Always soup. And she says, "A being of such cunning is always amassing. What is it you're really asking?"
Do you think Raffaella will say yes?
"You, Sir Orc, here's what I find." And she kind of places a old wrinkly hand on your chest, closes her eyes for a minute, and she opens her eyes and they flash white. And you kind of hear this in your head, but also spoken. She says, "To save your allies in a bind, the answer is you, so don't think twice. You'll need to make a sacrifice." And then her eyes kind of blink, and she goes back to them.
So this Octavia, we've been you head of the Platinum Syndicate. I think she's a part of that, and she's trying to be the one last standing. Seems like.
I feel like the rhyme scheme on that one was a little bit off, because
Rhyme on Platinum or Syndicate. I know those are hard, but you could do standing or.
I'm sorry, you're right. It was perfect. I am the contaminator.
Octavia still could windicate.
"I know not of what you speak. Come, the hour is growing bleak." You gather she doesn't really know of the Platinum Syndicate, specifically.
Have you heard of a Narsen Drell?
The name does not quite come to mind. But you seem so soft and kind. She places her hand on your chest, and her eyes flash. She says, kind of in your head, and throughout the rest of you hear this, "Good Melbin, you are pure of heart. Although your voice is loud to start, you will lose before the end, but you'll prove you are a paladin." And she disengages with your chest, and her eyes go back to normal. He goes, and she kind of takes.
I hope that time I died.
She takes her finger and kind of licks it a little bit.
Gross.
Yeah, it's gross. She's a
I hope that
hag.
time I died counts as losing.
She kind of goes.
Time to die again.
She just said you'll lose. You are pure of heart, although your voice is loud to start. Although you'll lose before the end, you'll prove you are a paladin. And
What else do we want? Okay. There's other gods that we specifically were looking into before.
yeah,
So there was Metre and Aranye. I asked XX about those.
Should we ask her about them?
Yeah,
they
why
were
don't you do that
they
while
were
I
fae
look
people.
through- Yeah.
Miss, do you know anything about Lady Aranye and Lord Metre and Titania?
she kind of grumbles for a second. She says, "With 8 long legs and several eyes, Octavia was full of lies. Before she cast me from the Fae and took the name of Aranye."
I get it. 8.
Whoa.
Oh,
Spider twist.
Oh, we got to go back and listen to all of season 1.
Go with knowledge you possess, better now I must confess. Aranye's schemes run long and deep. There's greater secrets she must keep.
Thank you, Lady Tula. Is there anything else you think we should know before we depart?
She looks back at Yenni and goes, "Poof," and places her hand on Yenni. And she says, and her eyes flash, "Halfling girl of Orcish home, finding all new ways to roam, you have a weapon mighty strong. Draw blood, and it will play along." And kind of takes her hand off. And then she looks at Igneous and Diedre.
Igneous has been trying to like avert his eyes, like maybe she won't look at me. I was like, oh, she's looking at me.
Kind of hobbles over to you and
This is awkward.
Okay, you're next, Iggy. You're going to get a
All
secret
right.
message.
Careful, I'm hot.
she places her hand kind of on your abs because they're and you're taller and she's a little lower. She's short. She's like 3'8", you know. And her eyes flash up and she says, "A soldier from the fire plane. Embrace the winter and the pain. Your elemental opposite will give your punch a greater hit."
Wow. Right.
A soldier from the fire plane, embrace the winter and the pain. Your elemental opposite will give your punch a greater hit. And then she kind of cracks her neck towards Diedre, smiles.
Oh dear.
Kind of, and
Yes,
to her, she places her hand out, open, kind of offering you to
Diedre very tentatively puts her left hand in hers.
Okay. She kind of feels it. Is your left hand the one with the ring on it?
Yeah, she has it on her
Okay.
middle finger.
And her eyes kind of flash white. She says, "A noble thief who's sly and slick. You think you only have one trick. But you'll do more than just one thing. Rotate the ring, then sing, sing, sing."
Oh, what?
There must be some mistake. I'm not a singer by any stretch of the imagination. That was more my brother's calling.
You gotta rotate the ring, and maybe it'll.
It's the most
I think you're taking a level in.
Do you want me to? Should I do it now or?
And she looks at you and says, "Better save it for a time when life or death is on the line."
All right. Well, then I suppose we'll save that for a rainy day. You won't get to hear my melodious orations at this venture. Thank you, my dear.
She kind of nods and holds up the pot towards her ogre friend and kind of, he's like, food. And she's walking away towards him. She doesn't say goodbye or anything. She's just...
Okay then.
Guess we're done.
Goodbye, Lady Tula.
She kind of just does the no look wave. She kind of like waves behind her back.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Introvert's delight.
Yeah.
Then I guess we tap our tattoos and go back.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that.
Unless anybody else has anything they want to do.
Let's go see how that tiny tree is doing. Is the forest doing better?
The forest looks great. The forest looks much healthier. There's not there's no blackness or rot along that. Jen, I'm gonna text you the stats and ability for the ring.
Okay. But I don't know that. So.
Just for the sake of, I would say it's it's like the purpose of an identify. So just so you know, kind of what it is.
Nice.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, you get the sense of kind of like, now that she's identified it, you almost kind of like the attunement is complete. It's almost been unlocked. And so you kind of have a sense of what you need to do and what it's going to do. Like it has this enhancement that will happen. And that's kind of what you just kind of feel that now magically. All right. So all of you tap your tattoos and you get pulled back through the ether to Glorn. And swipe, tap, swipe. Yeah. You do a little like...
That's the move, yeah.
You do a little like swipe keyboard and like unlock Glorn, Glorn, and autofills.
Down. Left,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, and you all come back. You kind of appear back in the Grumble Gate. As you do that, you see XX Bloody Heart, and he's sitting down, and Lucky is with him. Jeff, I'm going to text you something just so you can. XX looks kind of shaken, and Lucky's just kind of like, "It's all right. It's not your fault."
Well,
Hello, you lot.
Hi, Lucky.
Afraid we have some bad news. I hope your trip was better than Steve's here. Oh, his name's Steve.
No, it's XX bloody
Oh,
hurt.
sorry.
okay?
I thought
It's-
I thought you were opening up to me, and you did you have
Steve.
just a moment?
Look, I didn't. But that's not what I go by.
Oh, sorry about
Steve.
that.
Everybody,
XX.
everybody, shut up.
And you see this
Guys,
young
when
human
you-
kind of be vulnerable, and you realize like he is kind of young. Like he's just kind of young. He's early. He's he seems very like vulnerable, but and all of a sudden he kind of puts up the shell again. And do you want to tell him what happened? What you saw in Cold Guard?
Hey, what's up?
Well, when you guys left, was everybody like alive? The Cold Guard in Shivermore?
Yeah.
Yes, they were dancing.
It was just a massacre. There was just bodies everywhere. It was just dead people all over. Somebody was there and just slaughtered every being in the whole place.
Do we think it was related to the polka? Did you kill him,
Oh, I
Iggy?
don't know for sure, but I don't think so. It wasn't like a self-destruct at the end. They could have been distracted by the polka.
Polka dance
Nobody
massacre.
was there, not even the vampire.
No, he was fallen too.
Wow. Any clues as to what might have happened?
Yeah, they have like animal marks.
I don't
like snake
I
bites
don't think so.
or
It
something.
was clearly an assault. There were weapon wounds and weapons were drawn. There was some kind of crazy fight. There was this like this fine dust that was left on the throne where I guess this vampire guy was.
Like vampire ash?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Lucky, what did you think?
Well, I wasn't there. I Ganok is the one that
Oh,
sent.
that's right.
You just went by yourself.
That's right. Okay.
But
The dust there, I think, was from the vampire.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Did you see?
clearly?
You mentioned the wounds. Did you happen to see like? You remember when we saw Gustavo, our friend, the changeling, and he had that wound that was like black. Was there anything like a black poison?
Yeah, you know what? All of them seem to have like weird, almost like they had been infected, with something for a while, like bile and gross stuff on where they were slashed and hit.
Ooh. Were there any enemies? I don't know if you'd know that, but like, no.
From what you saw, XX, it was like there were all of the creatures. There were several creatures like riding mounts.
All the
animals.
Yeah, all the animals.
Everyday folk. A large frost giant lay dead in the main like throne chamber, covered in this kind of crossword puzzly kind of ichor, crawling up his skin, like an infection.
Did you see a snake?
Did I see a snake?
Like a big snake? Was it? If you didn't, that's okay. I'll just assume it got away and it was safe.
Yeah, I mean there was a big snake. There was what was the other ones?
Raptors.
The snake was okay though. Tell me the snake was okay. The snake wasn't. I can see in your eyes. The snake wasn't okay. Oh, I don't even. Oh. Yenni, did we name the snake? I don't remember. I don't think we named. We should have named you Snake. Yeah. Oh, I feel bad. We got to avenge this.
We did name the snake, but we're gonna have to NPR that name because I've forgotten it. I think it was like Lucy or something.
That actually sounds
That sounds right. Lucy!
Lucy.
They turned her into a spring.
Raphaela
If
walks
you
in
did
at this
name it, I
point,
didn't write it down.
and she says, "You're back. Good. Did you find anything out from the hag? What's wrong with him?" And Lucky's like, I'll fill you in. And come on there, boyo. And he takes XX and he kind of is walking with him up. And Raphaela's there, and he says, "Is everything all right? What did you find out from the hag? Anything that could be of assistance to us?"
Yeah. Well, she was expelled from the Feywild from Melbin. Maybe you should help me out. I was distracted. Octavia. And it sounds like now Octavia is called Aronye.
The Lady Aronye.
Yeah.
That's
We heard about her before in Metre.
That's not good. She was an ally in the battle, in your battle, Igneous. In the Battle of Oakheart. She provided.
Right.
Well,
I wasn't an ally at that point, but like I gotcha. Yeah.
They were trying to overthrow. I believe it was trying to remember the Lord Charmander or something like that. It was,
Charkandris, yeah,
Charkandris.
he's kind of a jerk.
And then he was working with Lord Metre.
Yeah, she sent all the werewolves and stuff. That was rough.
Right. Interesting. Well, this definitely this information cannot leave this room. I have to think on this and let me.
But do the creatures of the Feywild, the courts of the Feywild, would they really invade and try and take over here in our realm?
I don't know. There's so many unanswered.
I mean, isn't that what happened with Oakheart? Was basically an invasion attempt.
But that was from
Igneous, you probably remember it better than
That was
any
from
of
the
us.
fire plane. We're talking about an invasion of the Feywild that doesn't quite make sense. And if what you're saying is this Octavia was really Aronye, and you said you found in Boulder Bell, you found an image of a woman with a spider body, but it didn't mention Aronye. It mentioned Lolth.
That was the lady of the... Yes, Lolth, that's right.
Lot of spider people coming up in the narrative here.
Could Lolth also be the same person?
Thorax, Gamoria, Ravella.
All of these are possibilities. I hate to say it, but the one person that would know would be the one that we think took Drake Bloodmoon. It might be time to see Narsendrel. If all of you feel up to it.
All right. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
I will send you there.
Yeah.
I can't come with you. You're on your own. But
I get that a lot.
if you need anything, if you need to come back, you can. Just know that this might be your last chance to stop them. And if you're not able to rescue Mr. Bloodmoon, he might be killed, or he might be forced into giving away secrets of our organization. Now that we have the means, the rest of us might have to leave the temple. I will stay because there's a secret that I have to guard here. You all don't know this, but I feel like it's time that I told you that we are in the creature, an ancient creature. It is very old, and...
Oh, the Tarrasque.
What?
We've been
I told
told
you.
We're aware.
A little while ago, we
What?
asked...
Lucky told us.
Lucky!
Yeah, Gustavo.
he didn't know, which is weird. Seems like he could have asked, but like he told us to Gustavo, and Gustavo kind of.
And she turns around.
We got that.
She goes, Lucky!
Yeah.
Come down here! He's like halfway up the tunnel. Like, what? Well, I'm helping out the young human. All right. What? Did you tell them about the Tarask? Well, I thought it was.
I mean, just recently, or just almost a few minutes ago.
I didn't
I mean,
tell
you
them
had
it was
a lot
actually
of time. You
Gustavo.
could have talked to us about that. We had like a lot of downtime. We could have chatted about it. So it's kind of on you for waiting for the dramatic.
Pertinent information that if not many people should know about that, and I'm surprised Gustavo told you. Look, it wasn't me. Gustavo was the one that said something. Sorry.
I mean, it's just so hard to keep you all straight.
All right. Well,
this really isn't. This isn't pertinent.
Is there anything?
Frankly, based on the last time we met Narsendrell, I would like to know as little as possible because we kind of spilled everything we knew last time. So
yes, let's not bring that up again.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you need? That I don't know if there's anything we can do for you. I mean, I can call Boone if you want his help. It's sort of hit or miss, but is there anything else you think we can do to help? Lucky, myself. Do you need us to identify anything? Do you have any items you need infused with something? I don't.
Was there anything we hadn't identified other than, I guess, Diedre's ring has now been identified, yeah?
To her.
Yeah.
I'm just staring at Lucky the whole time.
Could you?
Why are you looking at me there, Igneous?
Oh, am I looking at you? No reason. Oh, this. You're cold, and I'm.
Is this about because we touched each other?
I mean, it's not just about that.
Consensually.
I kind of had, yeah.
Look, I was just trying to say goodnight. I mean,
No,
that sounds
it's more than that.
But, it's... And Raphael's like, what is going on? Look, I just patted him on the shoulder and was going to say, good job. And well, I mean, I tried to do that to Theo, but, he was in a lot of pain when I did it. Listen, I'm really digging myself a hole here. So listen, we touched each other and it burned.
Yeah, so we went to see the hag and she kind of gave us a whole lot of little prophecies. And I think she kind of described us together being some sort of I'm not sure if I mean I don't think I'm supposed to like marry you or anything, but
I should
like,
say
maybe
not.
we're kind of like
you're
cosmic brothers, or I don't know, something about like your power could make me punch more. This is awkward. However you interpret this, I feel like it's weird. But
Igneous, what did the hag say? What did he say that Lucky would have to do?
Well, it was a cold person. It was like it sounded like we kind of like match each other. Like I'm hot and you're cold, and something about our connection could like enhance you all settle down, all right? This is awkward for all of us. This something about our connection could enhance my power.
Right.
Just touch again, and let's force me and Yenni are going to kind of push them together.
Shove them together.
Like, make them fall.
Hold on there. I mean, like, what are you saying? Like, we have to, like...
We're like middle school dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't mind trying something out, but, I mean, you have to be specific what we're going to do, and it's going to hurt.
Maybe we could do that. We could start with that knight's embrace thing and just kind of see what happens and just fight through the pain.
All right. Sounds like a good plan as any. All right. Well, be ready.
Do you guys want to get those vests identified before?
We can do that in a second.
Bless my vest.
All right. So you guys kind of take a minute, take a deep breath, and there's this moment of like
bare manly naked forearms.
Yeah, naked forearms. He pulls his jacket back and just a burning dry ice of a burn kind of just and he's like,
it's cold at the same time.
It's so hot. It's so hot.
I hope this works out.
Burning. I feel it.
Very cold.
Ah,
Very cold.
Oh, I don't like
It's
this.
not numb at all.
And
It should be getting numb, but it's not.
and you feel
Fans, sample this. Fans, sample this.
Wait, something's happening.
Family friendly show.
Okay, and Igneous, you feel a fueling power creep up your arm from your forearm to your wrist to your palm to your fingertips, and what was this kind of charcoal? Which hand is it? Left or right?
Right.
Right. Your your right arm and forearm and hand. Your right, I should say, forearm from where he grabbed you up to your hand changes from a charcoal, and it's kind of slowly changing to this blue, icy, kind of hard, hard substance, and it's almost taken on a frozen form. A rigid frozen form, and it's still a hand. It's still your arm. I hate you all. Trying to give him a cool power. Okay, so yeah, and you after about 30 seconds, you're like it's and then all of a sudden the freezing stops, the ice sensation, it's kind of prickly, and you see this kind of like tendril of ice sort of crawling up your arm, but it doesn't freeze anymore. It doesn't hurt anymore, and you feel your arm and your fist is stronger and denser, almost like the fleshy parts of your hand and your fingers are like more sturdy than they were before. Almost like they have a different substance. You still have full control of them. You still have all the flexibility. You're kind of moving around a little bit, but something's different. As far as Lucky, he just has this.
You okay there, bro?
His arm, his left arm. Oh, wait, no, right arm. Because you guys raced with the right arm. So his right arm has changed because he's a winter eladrin, so he's got this kind of blue thing, but blue skin and blue tint. His right arm up to his hand has changed, so it's almost like volcanic in nature. It's like black with kind of a crackling lava kind of glow through it. And he's like, "Boy, this is quite different." And he kind of opens his palm really quickly, and this burst of flame goes. Whoa! Oh, that's new. And he does it again. He's just, what? And he kind of gets a biggest smile on his face. He's like, I can do it free will. It's just happening.
Looks like we might have traded some power. I look around for something to hit.
You wave. Well, there's a lot of walls. You can,
I got a shield.
All right, Melvin, hold still. Hold that up.
Okay. I guess I do have to lose.
All right, you punch Melbin's
Oh,
shield.
Punch Melvin's shield. Yeah.
Okay. You punch the shield, and it kicks in with extra force, more force than you're used to. And Melbin, you kind of scoot back about 5 feet. It's like pushes you back with this force, like.
Whoa!
And you punch back, and you kind of look. It was a solid hit, and your shield metal normally reverberates, but it kind of just like, kind of got really solid all of a sudden. And you look at it, and where he punched you has this kind of frozen dome on top of it. So Igneous, your punches with your right hand, so like one of your attacks, your right hand punch causes 4 points of just automatically 4 points of cold damage, and when you punch, it can push an enemy back 5 feet with the right hand.
Nice. All right, this is cool. We could, I would say, we could high five, but maybe we could just like, that's probably enough for now. Thanks, Lucky.
Yeah. During that, after that, Raffaella kind of looks around. She's like, she goes up to somebody had mentioned the vests and from the mind flayers. She says, "Well, I never did take a look at these, but let's see." And she goes up to Yenni
shows off her vest.
and casts identify, and her eyes kind of flash this sort of glowing red, and then she takes a beat and then says, "Well, the vest is leather, and it's very nice." But there is something inside of it. And she says, "Would you mind opening up the sides?" And so you kind of like open up the inside. It looks like it's just, a solid piece of leather or like patched together and where the seams go and everything. And she kind of has her hand and she's kind of placing it over where the seams are, and it stops kind of right to the side underneath where the arm would be, like the left arm. And she grabs the vest and rips out an area of lining, and inside of it is this kind of a visceral kind of pearlescent layer of, how do I describe this? It's kind of a sheen, like the thinness of something like rice paper falls out, and it kind of floats down very gently to the floor, and it just kind of rests next to your feet. She says, "This is not part of it was inside the jacket for some reason, but this is what's been giving off an aura since I cast the spell. It's been placed inside as it's some sort of warded protection, but I have to separate it from the jacket so I can try to see exactly what it is." And she kind of kneels down and studies it for a second, and she says, "I believe this particular item is a scale of, if I'm sensing this correctly, it's the scale of a rare creature, a celestial creature. Melbin, do you think you could help me out for a second? You have a connection with celestial beings, am I correct?"
Some, yes.
Could you sense perhaps what type of creature this is?
I could do a divine sense on it.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. So you cast divine sense, and it's interesting that you haven't sensed these items, and it's perhaps because it's so thin and it was encased in this mind flayer evil leather, which who knows, it's the leather is made out of some sort of gross animal or something like that, but now it's
leather.
Mind fleather, yeah. But now it's very like intensely like, oh yeah, this is definitely like a celestial scale from what's known as a some sort of worm, and what we mean by worm is like it's a dragon kind of a creature, but it's
WYRM.
YRM, yeah, but dragons or worms are not normally from a celestial nature, so you don't know what creature it is, but it's definitely kind of giving you the vibes of like this is a different kind of dragon that we don't know about, but it's celestial in nature, and it's this pearlescent kind of light scale that gives and what Rafaela tells you is this will give you a protection. This will give you a radiant. There's a type of radiant ability here. I don't know why the mind flayers would have such a thing in the Underdark, but perhaps when you fought them, did you feel any kind of effect, like from a radiant damage, or did you try to attack them with a radiant energy, and maybe they were warded by that, or?
Let me look, because I don't remember.
Melbin might have smited them.
That was last year.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
We were mostly trying not to have our brains eaten.
This is true. Well, I think if you leave it in the jacket, I'm sorry for having torn it out, but assuming that the other two have that in their vests, you might have a damage. We'll say that from your memory, you kind of remember that they seem to have some resistance to like psychic things, and they were doing a lot of psychic stuff. So it wasn't specifically anything like radiant that you remember, but all I can tell you is it's some sort of, like you said, like a dragon, perhaps. It certainly looks like a giant scale, but not any dragon that I've ever studied or anything like that. It's perhaps you've discovered, or perhaps they've discovered, some sort of creature. It's a mystery for another time. I don't have any answers for you for that. I'm sorry.
Whose jacket did you open?
Yenni's.
All right.
So Diedre
I
and
have to restitch that.
Diedre and Igneous, you kind of feel where that was, that sort of that little panel, and there does seem to be something there. So you get the sense that there's probably also this sort of draconic scale embedded inside of your vest that has some sort of something. So what I'll tell the three of you, or at least the two of you, and Yenni, you can decide if you want to try to quickly patch that up or hold it or do something with it, is that while you have these vests on, you are protected from radiant damage. You're I should say not protected, but what is the word? Resistant. Mm-hmm. So half damage to radiant.
Nice.
Nice.
Yenni, you can decide if you want to try to stitch it back in. From what Rafaela told you, it sounds like it could be used aggressive, or what's the word I'm looking for? Offensively, yeah. If it is somehow infused or connected to a weapon. If you have
Can
tape.
I just tape it to my axe?
Or
Diedre.
What good adventurer doesn't have a roll of duct tape in their pack?
You do have some nice rope and twine, and I'm sure some of you have kits, like different types of adventurers kit and stuff like that. So if you want, I think Theo has a couple of like some sort of different kits, right?
Oh yeah, we could
like cheese rope,
render out some. Yeah, we could render some. Yeah, we have cheese rope. Yes,
twine, stuff like that for packaging your
the long pieces of mozzarella.
Yeah,
and they twirl it out like that. We could wrap. Some of that.
Yeah, as you melt some matzah, you melt some mozzarella. Lucky melts some mozzarella. He ties it around. It hardens. There's this whole thing. Yeah. So you kind of just wrap this around with some string and tie it, and it's just kind of like in the handle, wrapped around really tightly, like wound around you have this radiant damage. So your axe, when striking a creature, deals +4 radiant damage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All that being said, there pleasantries are exchanged and final goodbyes, and then Raphael says, "Good luck. We'll be thinking of you, and you know where to find us. Hopefully, we won't stave off a large attack again, but we have the other knights, so they'll be able to help us out. Good luck. Godspeed." And she creates the portal, and it opens up. Theo, did Rebecca go with you?
She hasn't really been palling around as much, even though one of the things I set out as a goal for creating this character was to have a creature that was always tagging around.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, she was.
You're not going to take her to the final battle?
She was with you when you built the ring, and she's in the temple, but knowing that the temple is not safe, I'll retroactively go back and say, like, if you wanted to make the decision to bring her with you, you could, or you could leave her in the care of one of the sorcerers, or Clorn, or Boone, or
Could use her mighty steel wool.
She can be a shield.
She could be a shield. Let's have her come.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rebecca also comes along with Theo, and you all head toward through the portal. You guys are sent through to the base of the Palace of the High Apostle, which is outside in Valentrell, outside of the palace, at the gate where Narsendrel is. As you walk in front, the gates are open, and to the side there are two. They're not purifiers. What you see are two city watch, similar to what you used to wear, Melbin, and they're kind of standing there, and they said, "Do you have an appointment?"
Narsendrel is expecting us.
We're old friends.
I'm afraid I'll have to.
I've known him my whole life.
I'm afraid I'll have to check this with. Let me check my schedule. And he calls over to another person that's kind of to the side, a guard station, and from there you see one of the purifiers walks out, and he kind of slinks over and looks at y'all and looks at the guards and looks at y'all again, and the purifier just kind of stands there, tall and hooded, and you can't see their face, and they're just like, "Let them pass."
See?
All right, you can go on.
This is at the church.
The high.
Is that right?
It's not the church. It's the palace that the
Palace.
it's kind of like the Vatican, the medieval Vatican, of Valentrell. And as you're walking up these 200 or so steps of marble and stone and wood, you hear a high voice of the purifier say, "Close the gates, lock them."
Yeah, that's definitely a good sign.
As you walk up the palace steps, heading into the Palace of the High Apostle, with your upcoming meeting to talk with Narsendrel, the High Apostle, the High Cleric himself of the Church of Avros, knowing there's some sort of connection with him and the Purifiers, perhaps with the capture of Drake Bloodmoon, and knowing that there's another looming threat of these gods, and specifically Lady Aranye, who might be posing as a god or possibly several, we will pick up next time for the last season finale of season 5 in our next recording. Yay!
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
To be concluded.
After credits stinger,
Yep.
Raffaella closes the portal. She reaches into her pocket and she finds that a letter has been left there by Theo.
What is this?
She unfolds it.
She looks at Lucky and
It
says,
reads,
"Did you put this here?" Oh, I didn't put anything in your pocket. I'm going to be careful touching anything. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm very powerful now. She kind of like rolls her eyes and she opens it up and reads the letter, and we hear Theo's voice in her head.
Dearest Raffaella, I am no bard or poet. I'm not very good with words. I try and often fail to speak what is in my heart and in my head. I worry that my plain speech and directness have made my intentions unclear. In my clan, romance wasn't a part of courtship and marriage. I'm trying to learn these things with the help of my friends.
And she folds it up, puts it back in her pocket. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't have time for this.
Message received. That's why I love you. But clearly I have much more to learn. I have fondness and care for you. I don't have lands or herds, much gold, but I can provide. I am a person who makes, and I'd like to make something with you. A relationship.
Aww.
I hope you will consider my proposal. Sincerely, Theo.
Yeah, Igneous, you feel gosh darn it. Igneous, you feel everything I say now is just gonna sound dirty.
No, listen, Chris, the fan fiction's already written. Just need to do
a
it.
rising
You feel a buildup inside of
a
you.
a rising power
I'm looking forward to the fan art.
For the kids.